Okay, so in this tutorial, what we're going to look at is creating a dimension style. And the dimension style will be set for that particular drawing. Okay, so you're creating a dimension style for a particular drawing and for a particular dimension. So if you can imagine if you're drawing, say, a block or even a detail, your scale will be different to, say, a large floor plan. So for your project drawings, you're using like a dimension over, say, I think it's around 8 or 16 meters. I think the grids are about 4 meters apart. So some of your dimensions will be over a larger area, and the scale then that you print them to will be to a smaller scale, which means that the text will have to be bigger to actually suit that. Otherwise, you won't actually be able to see the text when you complete. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a dimension style. So to create the dimension style, we go into Annotate and then come to Dimension, and we can click here on Dimension Style. Once we have this, we have a number of dimensions already created. Now I'm going to create a new dimension. So if you see, you'll already have an annotative, ISO 25 and a standard. Now I have a number of ones that I did earlier, but we're not going to worry about them for the moment, and I'm going to create a new one from standard. So this is our standard, and I'm going to create a new style from this. So I click on standard and I click on new. And what happens when I do that, it says it'll actually, my starting point is the standard text style, and any changes I make will be to the standard. So I'm going to put in floor plan, okay, and I'll say 1 to 100. Okay, so floor plan 1 to 100, and I click on continue. Now we get a series of different options here. So we have lines, symbols and arrows, text, fit, primary units, alternate units, and tolerances. So we need to go through each one of these and make the changes as we see fit. Now I know what I'm going to change them to, so you can copy what I've done, or you can go ahead and try and work it out yourself. But what I would try to do is anything that we set is pretty much set in stone, and we'll only make the changes to this here after, and this will change the overall scale and the sizing of what we put in. So we'll start with lines, and I say baseline spacing. I'm going to put that in as I'll put that in as 1 for the moment, okay? Then extend beyond dimension line, I'm going to put that in as 1. And offset from origin, I'm going to put that in as 1, okay? So that's everything else. If I wanted to change my dimension lines, I could click them in by layer. So I'm going to make them by layer, and the extension lines by layer. Everything else, I'd like to keep it in as by layer. And we'll look at layers a little bit later on, and you'll work out what the reasoning behind that is. So we go to symbols and arrows. I'm going to go with an architectural tick. Okay, and I'm going to go with my arrow size. I'm going to set my arrow size as 1. And the rest of these I'm not going to worry about too much. Now as you see, I make the changes. It changes up here in this box here. Okay. The next thing then I'm going to go is to my text size. I'm going to set a text height as 1.5 and offset from dimension line. I'm going to go 0.5 for that, okay? Then fit. Yeah, if we come in here, we use our overall scale, and our overall scale is 100, or whatever we decide. And in this, I'm going to put it in as 100 because with the intention is that everything will be multiplied by 100. So when I put in 1 or 1.5 for an arrow size, I'm multiplying that by 100. Then if I go to my primary units, we're going to 0 decimal places, and we're 0 decimal places because we're drawing everything is in millimeters. If we're drawn in meters, you could go to 3 decimal places. And then alternate units, we leave that blank, and tolerance, we leave that alone. And we'll go just back to text, and that's in a standard. If you wanted to change that, you could do, but I'll just leave it as it is, and I click OK to that. Set current, and if you can see here, it's set up floor plan 1:100, and we click close. Now the next thing that I want to do is I want to put in a dimension to test it. So to test it, I put in linear dimension. We click in the dimension, and we can see what we have there. You can ask yourself, well, are we happy with that? I'd be somewhat happy with that. And then you can use that throughout. Now there's another thing here that we can use. We can use a quick dimension, or we can use continuous dimensions. So let's say I use continuous dimensions. We just delete this one first and go with continuous dimensions, and let's say we wanted to do it along the front. Sorry, we'll put in a dimension first. So let's say I wanted to put along the front here to here. So that's 315. Now I wanted to continue my dimension. I just click on each point there, and very quickly you have a dimension drawing. And if you look at that there, we have all our dimensions running along there. And that's, so what you do is you click in a linear dimension and then you go continue, and that will continue to your dimensions. So I'll just follow on. I'll just click in my linear dimension again, and I'll take a dimension there. There. I'll take a dimension in this room here, and this room here, and let's say this width here. So, and you can take as many or as few dimensions as you want, and that's your drawing dimensions. And you can see once you have your style set up, it's very quickly it's very quick to put in your different dimensions. Now if I wanted to change that and I wanted to create a smaller style or a larger style, I would go into my dimensions again, go to my dimension style, I go to floor plan, and I'd go to new, and then you're starting this time with floor plan and you're creating a new. So let's say I said 1:50, and then what I'm saying is continue, and then instead of going in and changing everything, all we do is go to fit and change this to 50. OK. Set current. Close. And then if I go in, it's on that style. Click on a dimension. Let's say I want to put a dimension in here. Well, that's that there like that, rather than that one there. So if you wanted to put detail in the kitchen, you could do that using that dimension style. So there's a large dimension style. This was set at 1:100, and the scale factor was 100, and on this one the scale factor was 50.